Hi, sixth grade. So we're going to be going over chapter 7 of Hatchet. It's kind of similar to what we did last Monday. You guys are about to start chapter 9. I'm not going over chapter 8 yet because I know some people still need to finish it. I don't want to go over it until everyone's got a chance to work on it. Speaking of which, if you want to see your grades for an assignment, we have been asked for the time being not to be using Infinite Campus. So if you could either go to that assignment on activelylearn.com, so you could go to activelylearn.com and click on chapter 7 and it'll show you your score, or you could go to that assignment on Google Classroom. I think when I put them on Google Classroom, it also gives you an email. Generally speaking, don't check right away. I'm giving students a few days just because I know there could be issues with sharing a computer with other people or with the internet. All right, so let's talk about chapter 7. So chapter 7 starts with Brian kind of lying on the beach at the lake, throwing up, kind of lying down and sick. And he starts thinking about his mom cheating on his dad. So the question is, why would one lead to the other? If you can take a look at some great answers here. Daniel wrote, I think he is thinking of this awful moment because it gave him pain. And when his parents divorced, that was a pain too. So he's linking the pain of eating the choke cherries with the pain of his parents' divorce. Gael wrote, it reminds him of the pain he felt when he saw his mom kissing another man. And then Max wrote, he is thinking that if his cheating mother was not cheating, then he would not be stranded in the Canadian wilderness. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a great answer, though. So he's thinking, I wouldn't be sitting here throwing up near a lake if my mom had just been faithful to my dad. All right, question 2. So Brian starts crying. The berries thing is upsetting because it's just another frustrating step. It's not that the vomiting is making him throw up. While he might be afraid of being eaten by a wild animal, I mean, let's face it, who's not? That's probably not what's upsetting him at the moment. It's just another frustration because he thought he found food, and here he is throwing up and having diarrhea. All right, question 3. So you did a survival reading last week. If you were Brian, what would you do next? Sarai said she would go and see if she could find a way to make fire. Ariana said she would also try to make a fire and then catch an animal and cook it and eat it and keep doing that over and over until they find me. And then Ramiro also said fire and then make or find a container that can hold water so that I can take scoops of water from the lake and put it over the fire so that it can be treated and safe to drink. Yeah, boiling water on the fire would make it drinkable. Right now he's been drinking dirty lake water, which is not a great move. All right, question 4. So he's face to face with a black bear. What would your next move be? Let's start by looking at Claudio's answer here. I'd never heard this before, but he wrote, if I was Brian, I would remember this saying, if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. So I had never heard that, and I checked with the National Park Service website, and that does seem to be pretty good advice. You are not supposed to play dead with a black bear. It actually suggests possibly fighting back and even suggests kicking and punching the bear in the face, which is weird advice to be getting from the National Parks website. Jay Nicole said she would go back slowly in the direction she came while keeping eye contact. I heard it from somewhere while watching a video. That also, according to the National Park Service, is good advice. And then Daphne, like a bunch of people, said, try to make yourself look big. So she said, stand on my tippy toes, raise your hands. That is also what the National Park Service suggests. Try to make yourself big, and it'll scare the bear away, believe it or not. All right, question 5. What does he learn from this experience? Jonathan wrote that he learns that not all things that look scary can be mean. They could just want to be your friend or they need company. Yeah, so the bear is a pretty chill neighbor. Doesn't hurt him. He just wants to, eat some raspberries just like Brian. Danera wrote that Brian learns that animals can be helpful and show you different things. Also that animals aren't always going to attack you. And Juliana wrote about a good life lesson in general. Do not judge something before knowing its intentions. All right, and then if we look at the answers for what will be the best title for chapter 7. So Brian Throws Up would be a great title for the first page, but he kind of moves on from that after a while. He does not yet make a fire. We're going to talk about that in chapter 9. Brian finds new food, which would be the raspberries, and meets his neighbor, which would be the black bear. That would be the best title. So in chapter 9, Brian has just figured out how to use his hatchet to make sparks, which is what happens when steel strikes flint. But what you're going to see in chapter 9 is once you've got sparks, it's actually still pretty hard to make a fire. So if you can think about anything you've ever heard about making a fire before you start chapter 9 and think once you've got sparks, you can't just strike some sparks onto a log and get a fire. So what would you do next? All right. So hopefully you enjoy the reading, and we'll chat about it after you've had a chance to finish it.